afternoon, friends. In last lecture, we already discussed the introduction parts of the GC, then the principle of GC, here the Langmuir and Freundlich adsorption theorem used for the GSC, and the Henry's law of partition are used for the GLC. Then instrumentation, so there are the 6 basic components. First one is the carrier gas, which is maintained at high pressures and is delivered to the instrument at rapid and reproducible rate. Then a sample injection system, then the separation columns and one or more detectors, then thermostated chambers for the temperature regulation of column and detectors, and last one is the amplification and the recorder system. Okay, so in that the instrumentations like this, so this is the diagram for the GC, gas chromatography. Here is the carrier gas. So this is the carrier gas passing through this container to gas regulator and gauges, and this regulator maintain the flow rate of the gases. Then there are the reference flow meters and the sample injection spores. Then the sample detectors and the reference detectors are there. Then bridges, amplifier and the recorders. And there is, this is U-shaped column here used, and this column as well as the detectors are in the thermostat chambers. Okay, then the first one is the carrier gas. We already discussed in last lectures. So generally the helium is used as a carrier gas because it is a less dangerous effect, while the hydrogen is highly dangerous gas and therefore it is not in used. Then sample introduction system, already we discussed in the last lecture. This is the purging and introduction system for the samples. Now today we are going to start the column in the GC. So the column in the GC, it may be glass or metal tubing for the analytical works, and it has the 4.8 mm diameter. Okay, the diameter is 4.8 mm and length from ranging few centimeter to 100 centimeter, and the column is either be coiled or it may be bent or it may be straight columns. Okay, we already seen in the diagram, it is a U shaped column. Okay, so now there are 3 types of analytical column: packed column, open tubular column and support coated open tubular columns. Let's see the packed column. So this packed column are prepared by packing the metal or glass tube with a granular stationary phase. In GSC, column packed with size graded adsorbent or porous polymers, and for the GLC, gas liquid chromatography, packing is carried out by coating liquid over a size graded inert solid support. Then in the open tubular column, the capillary or Golay column is used, and which is made up of from the long capillary which having uniform and narrow internal diameter. So that diameter is ranging from the 0.025 to 0.075 centimeter, and these column are made up of stainless steel, copper, nylon or glass materials. And the stainless steel being most popular for the preparing this open tubular column, and the inner side of the capillary tubing coated with liquid phase in the form of thin film, and which is 0.5 to 1 micron in size. Then third column is the support coated open tubular column, and this column is made up by depositing a micron size porous layer of support material on the inside wall of capillary column, and then coating with thin film of the liquid phase support coated open tubular column are preferred for the trace analysis, and this SCOT column are preferred for the trace analysis. Now let's see the next fourth point, that is the detectors. And the almost all detectors monitors GLC column effluent by measuring the changes in the composition arising from the variation in the eluted components, and only when a carrier gas is passing they give zero signals. So for the carrier gas, means for the mobile phase, there is no signal produced by the detectors, and the signal produced are proportional to the amount of eluted component. That means the amount of eluted component, that means it depends on the concentration. So signal are produced, it depends on the amount of the eluted component, that means the concentration of the eluted components. And there are some detectors commercially available, which are the let's see, these are, first one is the differential thermal conductivity detectors. So this is the first used differential thermal conductivity detector is the first detector that was used. Now this principle of this detector is that the temperature and thus the resistivity of wire through which current is flowing is dependent upon the thermal conductivity of the gas in which it is immersed. So that means the thermal conductivity of gas is a function of its composition. The thermal conductivity of a gas is a function of its composition. So let's see in a diagram. The diagrammatic representations are given here. So this typical thermal conductivity detectors is given here. Now it consists of two chambers of same volume containing resistance wires of thermistor and has high temperatures coefficient. Okay, temperature coefficient of the resistance, that is the resistance varies greatly with temperatures. So this resistance constitute, this one is the R1 is nothing but the reference R, and S is the sensing element respectively, and the carrier gas here is given. This carrier gas passes in both the cells, reference cell as well as in the sample cell, and the arrangement is such that the column effluent are moved into the sensing side only. So the effluent are moving towards the sensing side only, and the temperature of filament, that is S, changes due to widely different thermal conductivity. The temperature of this the sensing side changes due to the different thermal conductivity of the sample component than the carrier gas. So there is different thermal conductivity of the sample than the carrier gas, as sample is also in the gas and carrier gas is also gas. So the thermal conductivity of the sample component is varying different than the carrier gas, and the arrangement of this instrument is such that the effluent is moving towards the sensing site. Okay, now the temperature of different filament changes due to different thermal conductivity. Okay, as a result, resistance of S also varies. Resistance of the S, that is sensing side, is varies, and bridge become unbalanced. Okay, and this off balance current is signaled to the recorder, and which draw the elution curve for the chromatographic separations. Okay, then the second type of the detector is the flame ionization detector. So this flame ionization detector are showing in this diagram. So that is flame ionization detectors. In this flame ionization detectors, let's see here, the ionization detectors are based upon the electrical conductivity of the gases. So at normal temperatures and pressures, gases act as insulator but will become conductive of ions if electrons are present in that. So hydrogen is added with capillary jet. With the capillary jet here, hydrogen is added, and if it was not used as a carrier gas, then we add hydrogens. The mixture is burnt here. The mixture is burnt in air or oxygen in the detector. The point jet, the point jet serve as one electrode. The point jet serve as one electrode of the cell, and the collector is other electrode. So here is the point jet here. This one is the point jet, and here is one electrodes, and another electrode is the collector electrode here. Okay, this is the polarizing electrode and this is the collector electrodes. Okay, a sufficient potential to collect all ions is used, and the detector respond to all the organic compounds except this detector are responding all the organic compound except formic acid, and get rest response are given for the hydrocarbon, but it cannot shows detections, or we cannot detect the compounds by using the flame ionization detectors such as hydrogen, oxygen, nitrogen, silicon tetrachloride, sulfur dioxide, carbon monoxide, carbon disulfide, ammonia, NO, NO2, N2O, CO2, argon, krypton, xenon, neon, or formaldehyde or formic acid cannot be detected by using the flame ionization detectors. So here in this detector, electrical conductivity of gases is determined, and the gases are at normal temperature and normal pressures. These are the insulator but will become conductive of ions if electrons are present, and hydrogen is added from this side to the, if hydrogen is not used as a carrier gas, and the mixture is burnt in the air or in presence of oxygen here, and that is here in the flame or in the vent the mixture is burnt, and one carrier mixture is burned in the air or oxygen in the detectors, and the point jet here is the point jet serve as one electrodes, and the collector is the another electrodes, and in this way the detector responds to all organic compounds, but very few compounds like formaldehyde and formic acid cannot be detected by using these detectors. And last one is the electron capture detectors. This is the diagram for the electron capture detectors, and the electron affinity of different substances can be used as the basis for the ionization detector. And these electron ionization detector are also known as the electron capture detectors. It responds to only those compounds whose molecule have an affinity for the electrons. So the molecule which have affinity for the electrons can be detected by using this electron capture detectors. For example, the chlorinated compounds or alkyl lead etc. can be detected by using these detectors. So it responds to very little to the hydrocarbons, and this is the diagrammatic representation for the electron capture detector, in which this metal foil as shown in the square in the form of rectangles is the metal foil, and this is coated with the radioactive foils like nickel 63 or the H3 tritium. Mostly the tritium containing compound is used as a steady source for the slow electron. uh, as a slow electron, the tritium is used in this electron capture detectors, and the different substance can be separated on the basis of their ionization power. Okay, so these are the detectors that are used in the uh, GC. Okay, in next lecture we will discuss about the substrates. Thank you.